Wow, busy crowd. Thank you, guys. Thank you all so much. What a wonderful welcome. Thank you all for coming. This is just amazing. You guys back there too. Thank you for being here. This is wonderful. In addition to all of you gathered right here, I'm told we have quite a crowd joining us through our live stream, and so many more will be watching later. I am Dr. Nectar, and I have been blessed to serve as your interim president since October of 2018. You guys are going to make me cry, and this is not the time or the place. It is hard to believe that this is my 36th year at the college, and I have to say this final job, this final calling, has been filled with joy. We stand before you in one of our busiest buildings, Spes Unica. We timed this announcement to engage as many students as possible, meaning they are between classes. So of course, classes will resume shortly, and I am told that some classes were even canceled for this. So there may be some movement around us, but that's okay. We will just continue. We chose this building for today's celebration intentionally. As many of you know, Spes Unica gets its name from the motto of the Congregation of Holy Cross, Ave Cruz Spes Unica, which translates to Hail the Cross, our only hope. It is the motto of St. Mary's. It also reminds us of our relationship with the Sisters of the Holy Cross, who founded St. Mary's over 175 years ago. Their deep sense of faith and ability to compassionately respond to the needs of the time provide us with the example to educate undergraduate and graduate students in the Holy Cross tradition. Also, to inspire them to make a difference in the lives of others and our world. And I know we use that quote a lot, but we live by that quote. So today we stand in a building that quite literally reminds us of the hopeful nature of our faith, our history, and of our college. It's fitting then that we announce the future president of our campus right here in the heart of this beautiful building. To help make the announcement, I'm going to ask Gretchen Flicker to join me here on the stage in just a minute. Gretchen is the chair of our St. Mary's College Board of Trustees, and I simply couldn't have asked for a better guide to lead the board at this time. Gretchen is an incredibly gifted individual. She spent 25 years in the financial services industry, and in January 2019, Gretchen made the bold decision to step away from her career to dedicate more time to her family and philanthropic activities. And we are the beneficiary of some of her time that she now has. She has served on the St. Mary's College Board of Trustees since 2011, holding various leadership roles before becoming its chair in 2019. She earned her bachelor's degree from St. Mary's College, majoring in both mathematics and business administration. Gretchen earned her MBA from the University of Chicago Booth School of Business before putting in the work for a second MBA from the Katholieke Universitate Leuven in Belgium. I am so grateful to her for her thoughtful guidance, her compassion, and her common sense. I sincerely thank her for her work with the search committee, the trustees, and our senior leadership. She is a perfect example of a committed St. Mary's alumna, and I'm very proud to introduce her to you today. Please help me welcome Gretchen Flicker.
Thank you, Nancy, but I'm not quite sure who you were talking about there. It was very kind of you. So hello, everyone. Wow. I knew there were a lot of people here, but it's not till you stand up here that you really realize it. So thank you all for coming. As Nancy said, my name is Gretchen Flicker. I am the chair of the St. Mary's College Board of Trustees. And as she also mentioned, a graduate of this amazing institution, class of 1993. I stand here before you today with a fair amount of excitement and a tremendous amount of gratitude, not just because I have the honor of introducing our next president, but also because I have had the privilege of working directly with Nancy as interim president for a while now. And I'd like to take this moment to publicly thank her. Nancy. We're going to make her cry today. Nancy, you are the epitome of the spirit of St. Mary's. You selflessly stepped up to take the helm of this wonderful institution when we needed you. You carried us forward with a firm vision and compassionate heart, all the while knowing your time here would be brief. You approach each day and task with purpose, each faculty member, staff, and student with respect. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, we are grateful to you. Your impact has been vast, and it will be enduring. You have truly earned your place among the greatest leaders of St. Mary's College. I'd also be remiss if I didn't thank the search committee for their impeccable, thoughtful work in locating our next president. Between you and me, this was no easy task. The co-chairs and the committee spent countless hours outside of their normal work schedules and lives dedicated to identifying the best candidates possible for the presidency. They were asked to locate a candidate with significant experience in Catholic higher ed, liberal arts, and women's colleges. Maureen Smith, who led the search committee, along with Vice Chair Don Fisher and former Vice Chair Patty Purcell, had a diverse pool of candidates interested in this position. Many were simply outstanding. They recommended to the board a candidate who is in line with our vision and is a strong institutional leader. Their choice is exemplary and hits every mark. I am grateful for their discernment and for bringing to us this incredibly gifted, intelligent, and collaborative president-elect. Of course, this announcement would not be possible without the Sisters of the Holy Cross. Sister Veronique and her leadership team have played an integral part in the process. It is because of their charisms and values that we stand here today, open to the call to participate in a life full of compassion, guided by God's love. On behalf of the trustees, thank you for your faithful dedication to our campus community. And now, for the moment everyone here has been waiting for, Dr. Katie Conboy. So you all know her name now. Dr. Conboy comes to us from Simmons University, a women's college in Boston, where she holds the role of provost and senior vice president. She is a skilled academic administrator with a distinguished 33-year career in higher education. Prior to Simmons, she was at Stonehill College, a Holy Cross institution just outside of Boston. As provost at Simmons, Dr. Conboy led the process to redesign the academic structure of the university, creating 4 new interdisciplinary colleges and hiring 4 deans for those colleges. She oversaw the implementation of 2 signature graduate degrees in an online format, a Master of Social Work, and a Master of Science in Nursing, which resulted in substantial increases in enrollment and new revenues. She also worked to launch 4 additional online professional master's degrees. And as a fundraiser, Dr. Conboy helped to bring to completion a successful $100 million advancement campaign, finalizing at $16 million over goal. And while at Stonehill, as provost, she collaborated on the campaign that raised $55 million, with the centerpiece being a new science center. Going back a little further, as a faculty member, Dr. Conboy was an award-winning teacher and an active scholar. She co-edited the book, Writing on the Body, Female Embodiment and Feminist Theory, and is the author of scholarly articles on British and American fiction, Irish literature, and feminist theory. As an administrator, she is a lifelong learner, recently completing the Advanced Management Program at the University of Chicago's Booth School of Business and the Nonprofit Financial Stewardship Program at Harvard University's Kennedy School of Government. And lastly, she's no stranger to our community. She earned her PhD in English literature from the University of Notre Dame in 1986, even taking a class at St. Mary's while she was there. And finally, on a more personal note, she is married to Dr. Thomas O'Grady, who recently retired after a 35-year career on the faculty at the University of Massachusetts, Boston, where he was a professor of English, director of the Irish Studies program, and a member of the creative writing faculty. They have 3 grown daughters, Mairead, Katrina, and Siobhan. Now, I could go on and on, but I know you would all rather learn for yourself what we on the board have come to know very quickly, that we have found a true visionary to lead us as our 14th president. Please allow me to present to you the next president of St. Mary's College, Dr. Katie Conboy.
Thank you. Wow. They aren't kidding when they say there are a lot of people here. Good afternoon. And it is a truly good afternoon at St. Mary's College. And I'm just going to say it's a little overwhelming, too. I just want to take a few minutes to say a few thank yous and to make some brief remarks. So first, the gratitude. To Gretchen Flicker and the entire board for your confidence in me. To Sister Veronique and all the members of the Sisters of the Holy Cross for their unwavering stewardship and loyalty to St. Mary's. The search committee, especially Chair Maureen Smith and Vice Chair Don Fisher. Interim President Nancy Neckvissel. What can I really say? She's an extraordinary leader who leaves the most important gift I could ever have, a well-run institution and a solid foundation for the future. Vicki Wickheiser and Michelle Egan, who indispensably support the overall search process and have since given support to me. And I have to say that the magic of this afternoon's event that somehow produced all of you belongs to Sherry Rodriguez and her team, who worked through illness and more to pull this off. And deepest thanks to my own loving family. Some are here today. My husband, Tom O'Grady, my mother, Tane Conboy, one of my 3 sisters, Missy Conboy, and her husband, Bill Mountford, and 2 of my nieces, Delaney and Killian. Oh, no, Killian. Sorry, I thought she was going to be here. These young women, they're very busy. As Gretchen already told you, Tom and I have 3 grown daughters of our own, and though they can't be here today, I want to thank them for their unwavering love and support. I'm certainly feeling the absence of my father. He died 2 years ago this week, but I brought him with me on my Apple Watch as a picture to remind me. He would be so proud. And finally, thanks to all of you for being here today both to mark an occasion that has happened only 14 times in St. Mary's history, and also, I hope, to signal your interest in and commitment to this next chapter in our history. I am absolutely thrilled that I will get to write that chapter with you. Clearly, today marks a beginning, but in so many ways, it is for me also the completion of a circle, a homecoming. 40 years ago this year, I landed in this city to begin my PhD program at a little college and a university across the road. My now decades-long relationship to Holy Cross began at Notre Dame. Tom and I met there in our graduate program. We were married in the Basilica on campus. But professional life took us east. My career was launched, as Gretchen told you, at another Holy Cross institution, Stonehill College in Easton, Massachusetts, where I spent 13 years on the faculty and 13 years in the provost's office. 7 years ago, I left Stonehill for Simmons University in Boston, and I did that because I could see there a very different but equally compelling mission, women's education as the engine of social and economic empowerment. And now, St. Mary's offers the opportunity for me to combine my commitments to Holy Cross education and to women's education in my new academic home. Home is not a word I use lightly. As a military family, the Conboys relocated about 24 times. I might start a school grade in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and finish it in Charlottesville, Virginia, or attend a year of college in Kansas and go home for the summer to Heidelberg, Germany. In fact, when my parents moved to Holy Cross Village in 2017, it became their 28th home. I often think that my own adaptable spirit was forged in the life of an Army brat. I try to bring a sense of belonging with me wherever I go. And I anticipate my arrival at St. Mary's, as I'm anticipating it, belonging is actually top of mind for me, not for just myself, but for our whole community. I've spent my career thinking about the ways that a small college like ours, with a robust mission, can become a true home for its students, faculty, and staff, a place where everyone, with all their differences intact, still belongs. In our contemporary moment, I believe such spaces are essential and even sacred. So I ask you, 3.5 months before I actually arrive on campus, what kind of home do we want to build together? What kind of community do we want to be with and for each other? And also, how can we be open to change, even as we maintain our solid foundation? We won't answer those questions today, and even when we think we know the directions we're taking, I expect that the answers will emerge through the work. But I will offer 3 personal hopes. First, I hope we will foster a spirit of togetherness and belonging. If it's not heresy for our students, I'll suggest that we might want the opposite of the sorting cap in Harry Potter. Perhaps it's a mixing cap we want, a mingling and uniting effort rather than a separating one. Perhaps instead of multiple houses, we want one house. No Gryffindors or Slytherins, just one St. Mary's home. I'm sure many of you have read Abraham Lincoln's powerful House Divided speech, which took its theme and its warning from the Gospel of Mark. A house divided against itself cannot stand. Well, I'd like to think our togetherness will come from a deep civility that can listen to ideas other than our own, that can disagree forcefully when necessary, but preserve the fabric of our relationships. I can tell you, I will be looking for perspectives other than my own. I'm looking for people who will challenge me. I'm going to stick with Lincoln and remember that he was also the president who assembled a team of rivals. So whatever our differences, we have all chosen St. Mary's. We all belong under this roof. Second, I hope that our community continues to be one of moral imagination, one that can take its powerful and positive community commitments and model them outside the walls of the college. We live in a time of social isolation, what some have even called a crisis of loneliness. It's hard for me to believe it's been 20 years since Robert Putnam published his astonishing study, Bowling Alone: The Collapse and Revival of an American Community. Putnam's book is all about the decline of social capital, the erosion of formal networks of people who forged civic responsibility through their connections. Having 1,000 people in your LinkedIn network doesn't amount to a hill of beans if you don't have people you are actually in community with, people you can count on and who count on you. We need real links to other people if we want true belonging. And belonging is amplified, Putnam says, when our links are enriched by civic virtue and deepened by reciprocal obligations. And finally, I hope we can also work up an appetite for change, that we can approach renewing and renovating our St. Mary's home with excitement and openness. The Sisters of the Holy Cross set the cornerstone here, and their mission is one of adaptability, of continuously responding to the needs of the times. They have been unafraid of change, and we should model their spirit. As we spend more time together, you'll learn that I read a lot of poetry. Today, I'm thinking about the work of the Irish poet Seamus Heaney. He has a wonderful poem that speaks to what can happen when we open ourselves up to change. There are copies of this poem on cards that you can pick up as you leave today, but I'm going to read the poem now. It's called The Skylight. You were the one for skylights. I opposed cutting into the seasoned tongue and groove of pitch pine. I liked it low and closed, its claustrophobic, nest up in the roof effect. I liked the snuff-dry feeling, the perfect trunk lid fit of the old ceiling. Under there, it was all hutch and hatch. The blue slates kept the heat like midnight thatch. But when the slates came off, extravagant sky entered and held surprise wide open. For days, I felt like an inhabitant of that house where the man, sick of the palsy, was lowered through the roof, had his sins forgiven, was healed, took up his bed, and walked away. Heaney's poem reminds us that it's easy to settle into the familiar, to prefer the arrangements we've always known. His speaker resists putting in a skylight because he likes it low and closed. He likes the perfect trunk lid fit of the ceiling. That's the house he feels like he belongs in. But when the slates came off, he's filled with astonishment. He recalls the Gospel of Luke, where a paralytic man is lowered through the roof by his friends to be healed by Jesus. And the feeling among all present is one of wonder. And that's what I wish for all of us, that we foster a spirit of togetherness and belonging under our St. Mary's roof, that we make our walls permeable and share that spirit with the broader community, and that we be willing to change, to cut a hole in the roof if necessary, to invite wonder and surprise into our midst, and perhaps to find ourselves transformed in the process. I look forward to working with all of you, and thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sister Veronique Wiedover and the president for the Sisters of the Holy Cross. the founding congregation and continuing sponsors of St. Mary's College. It is my distinct pleasure today to welcome Katie Conboy to St. Mary's. As a sponsored ministry of the Sisters of the Holy Cross, the college has sought to work closely with us to ensure a continued fidelity to the mission of this pioneering educational institution begun 175 years ago. This year marks 165 years of our presence on this campus dedicated to Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception. Katie, welcome to this special place where you are called to build on the strong and visionary leadership that has marked the college and made it a place of promise and discovery for so many. You are no stranger to the mission and traditions of the family of Holy Cross. We welcome you now to discover the unique riches of St. Mary's. As an alum, I have personal knowledge of the gift that a St. Mary's education is. It has equipped me for the many twists and turns of my life as I seek God's transforming love and to be love in the world. It is a gift for which I thank God daily. As president of the Sisters, it is now my honor to extend a welcome to you, President Conboy, and to promise my support and encouragement as you begin to deepen your passion and commitment to education in leading St. Mary's and our civic community as we strive to bring about justice and sustainability in our common home. As you engage with others to feed the minds, the hearts, and the spirits of hungry people hungry to discover and grow the connections between truth, goodness, and beauty, so that they can positively impact society and our planet. Katie, the Sisters of the Holy Cross, serving God's people around the world, join me in welcoming you as our newest colleague in ministry. We wish you God's abundant blessings, courage, and strength as you begin your tenure in this precious legacy that is St. Mary's College. Welcome.
Thank you, Sister Veronique. And I want to extend my welcome also to you, Dr. Conboy, our new president-elect at St. Mary's College. Is it indeed an honor to celebrate this exciting time in our college's history? I want to say a final word of thanks to our search committee and trustees for their commitment to the college. And thank you to all students, faculty, staff, alumni, and friends who have joined us here on campus, as well as those who are watching online. Thank you for being with us. Now, if you'll all join us in the Cushwa-Layton Library, we'll gather for a reception to officially welcome President-elect Conboy to our campus community. Thank you for being here.